targets. So the first one we're going to go over is our zero target. This is fairly self-explanatory. We have 9 different triangles here for you to shoot at. And the intention with the zero target is to give you the finest aiming point possible by shooting at the points of the triangle. So if you can discern the point of the triangle, you're going to be able to hold as tightly as you possibly can on the target, which is going to reduce your aiming errors, yielding in better groups. It's definitely proven that the smaller the target that you aim at, the tighter your groups are going to be because your aiming point's going to be more consistent. So one of the things that I would caution you guys with on zeroing your rifles. Zeroing your rifle is really important, especially if you're going to be shooting at long range and validating a trajectory compared to reality with regard to a ballistic computer program and making sure everything lines up. So with that being said, when you are zeroing your rifle, understand that there's some factors that can alter your zero or make it change or walk around. So if you're a new shooter and you're learning a new rifle or a new system, be prepared to see that zero wander around slightly, maybe 1/10 of a mil or 1/2 of a minute of angle, based upon how you fit and connect yourself to that system. So that's something that you want to be aware of. And the other thing that you want to be aware of is that lighting conditions can change or alter your zero depending on where you are. Meaning if your range faces directly east or west, you can expect to see a fairly significant zero shift based upon the lighting conditions of upwards of 0.3 mils. So when you zero your rifle, get your group, the center of your group, as close to your point of aim as possible with regard to the mechanical workings of your scope. What I mean by that is if you have 1/10 of a mil, then you want your zero, the center of your group, to be within 1/10 of a mil or as close to 1/10 of a mil as you can to your point of aim. Now if you're using a minute of angle scope, depending on what your minute of angle scope is graduated with, you want to be as close as you can with regard to your point of aim. That's going to give you the finest zero that you can. So zero targets are standard at Modern Day Sniper for everybody. You should be able to take a rifle, assemble it, mount your scope to it, bore sight it, and get a working zero ready to go validate trajectory at long range within 15 rounds or less and in 15 minutes or less. So, happy shooting, guys. Let us know what you think. We hope that you enjoy the zero target. Let's talk about another one. Okay, guys, bipod pressure test. We're going to use the bipod pressure test to identify what our rifle reacts to when it comes to the different inputs that we're putting into the system. We designed this target to show you to see if you had a major point of impact shift from your point of aim to where your groups are landing based upon those pressures. So what we have here is the normal target. The normal target is however you address your rifle, wherever you're at with your training and your level of expertise. Just do what you normally do, and you want to shoot a 5-shot group. Then we're going to move down to forward pressure. We're going to push into the bipods using forward pressure from our body to load that system up, so that way we can see how the system reacts with that pressure. You're going to shoot another 5 rounds there. Now on this bottom circle, this is rearward pressure. We're not going to have any forward load on the bipods whatsoever. You're just going to be utilizing rearward pressure from your shooting hand and your non-shooting hand to stay connected to the rifle, and we're going to see how the rifle reacts with that. Next, we have neutral. And what I mean by neutral pressure is you're going to be laying behind the rifle, connected to it, because we never want to let the rifle get a running start at us, but we want to stay behind that rifle in sort of like a relaxed noodle state. Or we're just going to let the rifle recoil on its own with no pressures put into it to see how it reacts. So when you guys try this on your own, you might be surprised at what your rifle does or doesn't do. This is where we find our own truths by shooting the tests for ourselves and witnessing the results with our own eyes. So that way we know for ourselves what's real and what's not. Okay guys, the next target we're going to discuss is the consistency check target. I developed this target a long time ago, and I made it specifically this way to test several things. First off, you're going to notice that there are 15 dots on this target, and they are 1.5 inches in diameter. And we have a 1-inch center gray circle with a 1/4 inch black ring around it. So the original goal of this drill was to teach people how to consistently address the rifle and build a shooting position, therefore the consistency check drill. So instead of shooting groups at the target, where psychologically we have the ability or propensity to push and make work a bad position that we otherwise, if we were more discerning in that or trained, we would say, nope, I'm going to disconnect and I'm going to start over. So what we do is we reduce the propensity to do that by shooting only one shot at each of these 15 spots. So that way you could have a really good look at where your consistency is over 15 shots of what we would call a build and break scenario, because we want to develop that consistency with building the position, delivering one well-aimed shot, and doing that over and over and over again, because that first position and that first shot is usually the one that really matters when it comes to, in a hunting condition, a tactical scenario, or making sure that you get that good solid wind call to carry you on for the rest of the stage. So the consistency check target, it also tests your ability to aim accurately and precisely, because it has a featureless background. And it's very difficult for you to aim at something with a featureless background unless you're consistently checking to make sure that your sight picture is exactly where it should be, which in this case, your center dot should be in the center of that circle, and you should have 4 equal slices of pie, knowing that the reticle is exactly in the center of the target. So that is the purpose of the consistency check drill. You can also use this on positions. This is a great target to be shot from barricade positions or tripod supported positions, especially if you're training for a match. So this way, with these 1.5-inch circles, you can truly see what you're capable of doing from a position through a multiple stage or through a multiple position stage course of fire. So that's another thing that I use this target for. Okay guys, so this target is the bread and butter of the fundamentals of marksmanship, and there are 2 different drills shot on this target. If you guys have trained with us in the past, you know that this is something that I like to really fall back on to check your ability to apply the fundamentals of marksmanship. So on the left side of this target, we have 4 spots, and they decrease in size. Depending on your conditions and the lighting and the mirage, this bottom dot can be a little hard to see, so modify the drill according to what your conditions allow you to do and see. So the goal here is on the no bag side, we're going to remove the rear bag from the equation, and we're not even going to use the support hand to fill in any of that negative space between the buttstock and the ground. So we're simply relying on our ability to address the rifle and connect to it, and then the non-shooting hand is going to be placed on the ground. You're going to rely on nothing but your body position to establish a natural point of aim in the target, and by removing that rear bag and your hand, this forces you to focus on your breathing. And so that's really where this drill is going to illustrate any deficiencies in your game when it comes to fundamentals, most notably on the breathing side. Because if you are holding your breath and or muscling or driving that gun, you're not going to be able to hold that position for very long, and your wobble zone is going to increase dramatically, and you're not even going to be able to keep a shot inside this 3-inch circle. So the goal is to get yourself situated into a prone position, have your natural point of aim set so that your reticle rests in the middle of the target while you're at the bottom of your breath. You want to take a big breath in, and your reticle should travel vertically downwards. And then as you let that breath out into your natural respiratory pause, the reticle is going to rise back up into the target. And if you did your homework and your job correctly, it should float right in the center of that black dot, saying, hey man, anytime you want to press the trigger, I'm ready to go. So the other side of the target is our natural point of aim drill. So once you have the ability to establish your sight picture with your eyes using the no bag drill and understand the role that breathing plays in the natural point of aim, we're going to compound this, and then we're going to also give you your rear bag back. You get your rear bag for this one, but the trick is you have to shoot with your eyes closed. So don't freak out. You're not violating any safety rules. All of those bullets are going exactly where you tell them to, into a safe zone, so don't worry about that. What this drill is going to focus on is highlighting your ability to establish a natural point of aim in the exact center of the target and break a clean shot with regard to your trigger press at the bottom of your breath. So we're bringing everything all into one, and we're aiming the rifle, but I'm going to take your eyes away from you. And the reason that I'm going to take your eyes away from you is that's going to heighten all of the rest of your senses, and you're going to really sit with the fact that you might be putting a tremendous amount of pressure into that rifle and muscle to get it to do what you want it to do. And those pressures are all coming from you subconsciously. You don't realize that you're doing them yet. So by taking your eyesight away from you, it'll get you in better touch with what your body's actually doing connected to the rifle, and it's going to help you identify where you can relieve some pressure and focus on those points to get yourself truly in that neutral, natural respiratory point of aim, or natural point of aim, not respiratory. Respiratory's in there too, you got to breathe. So both of these drills are extremely important to establish your relationship with the fundamentals of marksmanship. Super important. And the way that we do this is we fire 3 shots, 3 shots, 3 shots on the no bag side, and then we rebuild the position after every 3rd shot. And then same thing with the natural point of aim drill. We are going to fire 3 shots. You get your eyes back in between each shot. That's really important for you to understand. I'm not going to expect you to shoot 3 shots without your eyes in any of them. So every time you shoot, you're going to press the trigger, your body's going to feel the recoil, you're going to recover, your follow through recover, and once the gun stops moving, you open your eyes and identify where your recoil management and control, put the reticle, and then you can reset for the next shot. So again, 3 shots, 3 shots, and 3 shots. If you want to do 5, you certainly can, and you can modify the drill however you want to suit your needs. One last thing, up at the top here, there is a 0 confirmation dot in the event that you roll into this drill cold and you just want to see where your 0 is in relationship to your point of aim. Okay, next target in the mix, and this is a kind of a progression, starting from zeroing and working through some fundamental drills, getting us to these positional circles. So these positional circles are here to help you identify if you do have a point of impact shift, how much it is from your point of aim with relationship to your actual 0 point. So I would recommend getting into a standing position and firing 5 shots, slow fire at that center dot, and then go to a high kneeling position, and then go to a sitting position and a low kneeling position, firing 5 shots each at those targets, however you wish to apply the fundamentals of marksmanship or however you've been trained to. Once that's done, you're going to lay into the prone position and you're going to fire a 0 confirmation group of that triangle. And that 0 confirmation group is just there for us to say, hey, this is where my 0 is when I have all the time in the world to build the position and I'm in the most stable position possible, which is the prone. So if you have a deviation from your 0 point with any of these groups that relate to a position, that has nothing to do with the rifle. That has everything to do with you and your interaction with the rifle, most likely with regard to natural point of aim and your recoil management, meaning what kind of pressures you're putting into the system as that rifle's going through the process of recoil. So something to think about. It's a great drill for you to use when you're learning a new system or you're trying to get a good solid fundamental reset. And the last, but certainly not least target in the progression, this is the modified Sniper's Hide 21 dot drill. This drill did not come from us at Modern Day Sniper. Both Frank Galley and Jacob Bynum, when they were working together down at Rifles Only, came up with this drill as a way to quantify a student's performance and their ability to acquire a sight picture and deliver one well-aimed shot in a specific time standard. So we modified the drill slightly in terms of the dot size, and you can modify that drill to suit your needs, whatever it is that you wish to do. We went with an 1.5 inch dot simply because we have a plethora of different rifles that come through our school, and we want to make sure that if a student shows up with a gas-operated rifle, that they're not trying to shoot 1-inch dots with a gas-operated rifle that's just simply not capable of producing accuracy to that degree. And that's mentally demoralizing. So we increased the dot size, but we also gave a center point here in the middle, which is a 1/2 inch dot. For the guys that truly do have those precision rifles, you can hold yourself to your own individual standard based upon that little 1/2 inch dot. So the way that this drill works, it's sort of complex in nature, and we put all of the time limits and time standards on each of the rows. So the thing that I will tell you is the only dot on the target that gets more than one shot is the top dot here, and that's your zero confirmation, where you're going to deliver 2 well-aimed shots in a time limit of 30 seconds, and that's going to confirm your zero for the drill. Traditionally, this drill should be shot completely cold, meaning your first drill of the day, so that way you can really see where you're at with your neural pathway establishment and how you address your rifle and apply the fundamentals of marksmanship. All right, guys, so that's a list of all of the targets that we have here at Modern Day Rifleman for you to use. We're going to continue to develop targets as we develop more drills, and I think that these are all dramatically beneficial for people because we can compartmentalize the skills and use one specific target to focus on one specific set of fundamental skills. So if you guys have any questions on this, make sure you leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and make sure that you guys evolve with every shot that you take.